Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Hakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations, Akim, pushing this word, sincerity and honesty, and the rest of the whole full elect, constantly enduring. Shalom. My name is Kora Allah, and Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. Now, what you're looking at are stills from the movie The War of the Worlds, the original from 1953. Now, this goes back to a novel, The War of the Worlds. The author is H.G. Wells. And this information about the read is off of Wikipedia. Just type in War of the Worlds. Now, I'm jumping down straight to the point. It says, Wells later noted that inspiration for the plot was the catastrophic effect of European colonization of the Aboriginal Tasmanians. Some historians have argued that Wells wrote the book to encourage his readership to question the morality of imperialism. I want to say that the inspiration may have came, which I can't prove it, but I believe the inspiration may have just came from the scriptures, from the Bible. All right, the whole Bible, including the Apocrypha. Reading on, it says it was memorably dramatized in a 1938 radio program directed by and starring Orson Welles that reportedly caused panic among listeners who didn't know that the event was fictional. So there you go. When they heard the radio program, they thought it was the real deal. Okay, because how was Shah, the angels coming back by way of the heaven, those chariots, which people call UFOs. Okay, and it's gonna be a real panic then, and this just being a novel turned into a radio program caused panic. Just imagine what the real deal is gonna be. Okay, now these stills look, just like just like it's written in the scriptures. It looks like Wells got his inspiration from the Apocrypha. Now, our people don't know that the Apocrypha is actually part of the Bible. When I say our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites according to the Bible, it says the Apocrypha is a selection of books which were published in the original 1611 King James Bible. This is online etymology, and you go into the word Apocrypha, straight to the point. It says apokryphos. It says from Greek apokryphos, hidden, obscure, hard to understand. It says from apo, off, away, crypting, to hide. See, crypt. So apocrypha. So in other words, these scriptures were hidden away. This is why Esau started to hit the scriptures. 2 Ezra chapter 13, verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and it moved all the waves thereof. That wind from the sea, that wind is going into Yahweh Shai, the world even calls Jesus Christ, that moved all the waves thereof, which the sea and the waves are going into outer space. Because when you read the scriptures, you find out that the outer space is also known as waters. It says, and I beheld, and lo, that a man waxed strong with 1,000 of heavens. Okay, that man waxed strong is Yahweh Shai coming back in his glory. And the thousands of heaven is going into those chariots or the angels. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. And all the things that trembled that were seen under him are going into peoples and nations. Why? Because when Yahushua comes back, these nations are going to be at war. It says, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as earth faileth when he fleeth the fire. And that all they burnt, I heard the voice, which is going into the those chariots shooting those lasers. Okay, that's actually talking about the chariots shooting lasers. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. And those people that gathered together are the military of these different nations, because even Ronald Reagan said it, if a foreign invasion was to come upon the earth, that these different nations will put their differences aside and fight together to conquer that foreign invasion, which he was referring to Yahweh Shai and the angels, because these people know, the elites know what's coming to them, okay? And in these last days, along with those nuclear missiles, you're also going to have to deal with the chariots of the Heavenly Father. And all these things are going to happen during World War III, when those troops are gathered over there in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. It says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And that's going into the chariots. Like you see in the War of the Worlds, those chariots are really not little Martians, but they're really the chariots of the Heavenly Father, okay? The Most High, Yahweh, and when you quote Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai. And along those angels, they have their chariots also. It says, but I would have seen the region or place where onto the hill was graven, and I could not. It was a gigantic chariot. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet durst fight. So these nations, these military, gonna be afraid. Yeah, all these different brands of the military. Got the army, the navy, the marine, whatnot. You're gonna be afraid, but you still gonna fight. Why? Because you're gonna have faith in your machines. You're gonna have faith in the military might. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument or of war. Why? Because the Lord had the chariots. He's going to have the chariots and come back in his glory. And those chariots are going to show you what they're capable of. Now, Esau knows about these chariots and these laser beams because they know about the scriptures. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Right, now this is where we get the idea of those chariots shooting lasers. All right, so this is a gigantic chariot as big as a mountain shooting a gigantic laser at these different military branches in different nations. It says, and they were mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up, every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. And I saw, and I was afraid. Right, so this is a vision that Ezra had seen. And this is to come in the last days, which this is not going to happen until the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, happens. That has to be passed first. And you're going to see all hell break loose. You're going to see plagues. You're going to see famines, right? Pestilence, the collapse of the dollar. And you're going to see wars. And ultimately, you're going to see Yahweh Shai coming with those chariots, man. Verse 11, it says, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So this is what you saw when you watched the movie The War of the Worlds. You saw people turned into dust. Okay, the smell of smoke, the military tanks, the machinery, right, and the people. So nothing was left but dust. This movie seems to line up more with the scriptures than anything else. But with that, I want to say all praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Kwakwadash, double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to Akim pushing this word, and also saying honesty, the whole full elect, constantly enduring. Shalom.